Hi guys, it's Sweetit, and I'm going to do another pour today, but I wanted to show you, I work on glass most of the time because I have a good supply. This is basically upcycled glass. It's window glass that I have cut and then ground the edges so that they're a little more rounded, and it really is ordinary window glass. Now this is a pour that I did previously, and it's okay. I didn't have really good paint. I was using craft paint, and I don't know if you can see that texture that I got in there. There are no cells in this. Well, I take that back. There are some cells, but there's also some air bubbles, and I just really wasn't terribly thrilled with it. So I thought, nah, nope, no problem. I will just peel it off, and I'm showing you that it can be peeled. But I had been worried about the staying power of this acrylic on glass, and I really have to work. It can be done, given that this is just leftover glass from some construction. Actually, it was a deconstruction project. It was taken out of a building and salvaged. You have to work at it, and so I'm a little bit more comfortable with doing my pours on glass as a result, because this is a little bit too much work to get this paint off, and then I think I would have to take a razor blade to get this off. So I feel more comfortable about the staying power, and the last pour that I did on glass about 6 weeks ago has held up very nicely. So I was kind of glad that I wanted to trash this one, and I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it and put resin on it and see if I can't get it to smooth out. But and if I do that, I'll have a video of that. So feeling better about doing my pours on glass, and this is one that I just sort of considered a failure because of the air bubbles, but maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's certainly not worth me spending a long time trying to get this paint off the glass to do another pour on it. So, and here's my pouring bucket. This is another thing I was going to show you. This is actually a collapsible, so it's got a low profile, and then of course I've got the cups still in there from my last pour, and then you just pop it back out, and the paint really does peel up in here, so it cleans up nicely. I'm just not going to worry about it at this time, since that tends to hold my cups in and provide a little bit of stability. So today I'm going to do a pour using green. I'm using acrylic ink. This is a nice lime green color, and yellow, and then of course the blue, and we'll see how that turns out. I'll be using Liquitex pouring medium and silicone. Oops, and I forgot to mention I will also be using white craft paint. So let's do this. I actually remembered gloves this time. I usually have to run and get them, but I've got my gloves, and if I can get them on. And I have a substrate, which is, yes, a piece of glass that I have cleaned, and that I am going to clean again because it just really doesn't look very clean. This glass was down in a barn for years, and I got kind of excited when I saw it because I thought, well, you know, I can do things with that, because I do have a small glass studio, and so and I have made things with that glass, warm glass, by slumping it, painting it and slumping it. I use a special kind of paint for that. Now I'm cleaning it with pure alcohol because that doesn't leave any residue on the glass whatsoever. So I'm trying to be very careful. I've got my gloves on so I'm not getting oil from my fingerprints, especially since I was handling that other pour, which had silicone oil all in it. Okay, there we go. So I have my setup, and the first thing that I'm going to do is get my cups out, and I'll pour my, what I call my base, which is going to be pouring medium, but not very much. Now my glass is about 7 by 7. And I've got to get the lid off. Okay. Now, for the base, this is again a 7 by 7. I'm really pouring it only Liquitex pouring medium up to that line right there, okay? So it's just covering the base, but then I'm going to add the white craft paint to it. And I really couldn't tell you, that's probably about 2 tablespoons of paint. And I'm going to give it a stir. Whoops. All right. So there it is. Now I'm going to also add some silicone oil. And I've learned the hard way that if I try to pour this, I will get way too much. And I just got the alcohol instead of the silicone oil. I could try that, but I really wanted to use the oil. Okay, so I'm going to dip my stir stick in there and get about that much. So there's just a little bit on the stick. And now I'm going to stir. So it's really whatever, when I dipped it into the silicone oil, whatever was on the stick. So not really a whole lot. Okay. Now I'm going to pour about that same amount of pouring medium into 3 cups. Basically just covering the base. And that's it. Then I'll add my ink. And this tends to give, well, I don't know what, in this case, honestly, I haven't done it with these colors. But usually when I do this with the ink and the pouring medium, I get a very soft effect. Okay. Shaking the blue and trying to open it. 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know. Half a dropper probably. Go to my green. I'll put in about the same amount, about half a dropper. And if I don't think these are intense enough, then I will come back and add more. And then again, half a dropper. That's about right. So let's stir these and see what we have. But first, so I don't knock anything over, I'm putting the lids back on my pouring medium and my silicone oil. I'm messy enough that I actually went out and bought an apron because I tend to get, I forget that I'm wearing good clothes, and then I get little drops everywhere. I also like to take my paintbrushes and wipe them off on my jeans. So I think that needs to be stronger, the yellow. It's just a little too pastel. Okay, that was almost a full dropper that I added to it, so that's 1.5 droppers. And that's a little more vibrant. That's more of what I'm after. Okay. Wiping off the stick, and let's check out this green. I like the green. but because the yellow and the green are so close to each other, I want a little more difference. I'm going to add more green, make it more intense. About another half a dropper full on the green. I don't want everything to have the same value, and I don't want to add black or add white other than what I'm already doing, so I'm trying to get a little difference in the colors. Alright, flip my stick over, use the other end, and I want more blue than that. In fact, I want the blue to be really strong, and this is pretty soft. So, that's a full dropper I just put in there. And I'm probably going to put a little more in there. That was pretty much another dropper. Okay. Now for the fun part. Dump it into the white. Looks kind of interesting already. See that? Now for the green, I'll just over on that side. And of course the yellow and blue is going to create a little more green. I've got a drop on that. But we'll see. Okay. Now I'm going to slide this over. And here goes. I'm going to empty the contents of the cup and then just let it go. Okay. It's spreading out nicely, which is something that I really like. And I'm going to tilt it to get that coverage all over, but I don't really want, there we go. Okay, and I can see some cells already forming, but I don't really want to manipulate this too much. I do want to, I am manipulating it, what am I saying? Okay, I don't know what that's going to look like. Again, I do have cells, and I will be back when this dries. I'm going to shift it. This corner's not really covered. I need that to cover. There we go. I said I wasn't going to play with it, didn't I? Yeah, can't help it. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. And there's a glare so you can't fully see, but I've got to move the light, but you can tell I've got some good cells going in a few different places. I don't know what this is going to look like dry, but I will let it dry and I will be back. Thank you for being with me. Bye.